Gentlemen, I want to call this meeting to order. Today is a special call meeting of the Commissioners Court of Cook County, Texas. Today is Friday, July 24th, 2026. It's 9 a.m. and we're in the central jury room of the Ralph H. Paulson Jr. Justice Center at 1200 West Pearl Street in Granbury, Texas. Mr. Richard House, would you like to give us the invitation?
With pleasure, Your Honor. Please pray with me. Our most gracious Heavenly Father, we're so grateful for the community that you blessed us with, filled with great men and women who care about their neighbors and will uphold Christian principles of supporting those who are in need. Father, we pray for your wisdom upon our elected officials, our judge, our county commissioners, sheriff, and the others, that your wisdom will come upon them and they'll have the wisdom of Solomon and the patience of Job as they go about serving the public and making our community an even better place to live. Father, we pray now to thank you for these United States of America where we're privileged to live, and for the blessings that you flow upon us every day. In your Son, Jesus Christ, we pray. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I pledge the great state of Texas.
Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one and indivisible.
Okay, our first item of business is to discuss and take appropriate action to move the Development Department, Clint Head, from Acton Annex to Annex 3 to the County DPS office, currently in Annex 3, to the Acton Annex vacated by the Development Department, and allow for Texas DPS Licensing Department, currently located in Toller, to move into that location also. Mr. Wilson.
Point of order, Judge, when we, at the last court, there was a motion made by Commissioner Eagle to table this item until Tuesday, the 28th, and it was seconded and voted 5-0 to move it, to table it until the 28th of July. So this is out of order to have it on the agenda today.
What do you think, Mr. Mills? If we problem with this is the urgency of
Right.
everything Toller.
Right, I mean, technically it doesn't honor what was voted on the 14th. I mean, the 14th says it was moved to the 28th, but now here we are, it was put on, it's not on the Tuesday agenda, so you can't just move it to Tuesday because it's not on there. So the next regular meeting is August the 12th, and they're supposed to be out by the end of August, so I don't see a legal bar from taking up the item. I mean, you can vote no just out of principle from before, but I don't think if you vote, you're invalid. So
That's my deal, and this is an emergency situation that's really beyond our control, is what I'm thinking. We need to get something to do.
Well, that's, I'm just saying that that's what was voted on at the court on Tuesday. I can't help that it wasn't put on the 28th agenda. That was an oversight. But that's
Well,
what was.
I think you just handled the legal deal. That it's not, doesn't render it illegal to do this if we all agree. We have plenty of notice with this one. I surely want it. I think we need to move forward on this thing. I mean, because the DPS is involved with it.
okay.
You don't see anything illegal about it.
No, I mean, if you take it up and vote on it, I don't think that is somehow invalid because the motion to table from the 14th said the 28th, and of course, we're not on the agenda for the 28th.
So, given the fact we've got 32 or 31 agenda items for Tuesday, it's not on Tuesday's meeting, they got to be out. I said we just move forward with this. You're point's taken, Ms. Samuelson, but I think we're going to go ahead and do it and hear it. So, Commissioner Wilson, it's your item, let's go down here.
The court's all been handed a monthly report for both the Granbury office and the Kohler office, and it's quite evident that, between the two of them, there is a significant number of people that are in the county and other counties that are across the state that are served by both facilities. It is, in my opinion, imperative that we retain a driver's license office in the county for, at the state level. Part of that process, that once this move, if it does occur, will be that the two current county employees that are in the Granbury driver's license office will be taken in by the state office, and they have already agreed that yes, they want to do that, and the state has stated that they will be doing that also, so that will make those two individuals state employees rather than county employees. But the overwhelming numbers of licenses that are handled in Hood County, not just for people in, that reside in Hood County, but across the state. If you look at, we've got Williamson County, we've got Montgomery, Llano, Wichita, people from all of those, different counties that come, here because of the scheduling issues within the, DPS system as a whole. And so it's imperative that we retain a driver's license office in, Hood County at the state level. The state has already agreed that the modification to the suite in Acton Annex, which is basically removing 2 walls, they will be doing that on their own accord, not county funds for that. The cameras that the state requires to be installed will be installed and provided by the state personnel, not county at all, on that one suite. So, that's where we're at. Again, the numbers are overwhelmingly, show that it is a viable product for the citizens of the county and other counties across, not only the surrounding area, but across the state. So, with that, I move that we move the development department, Clint Head, from Acton Annex to Annex 3, and move the current county DPS office located in Annex 3 to the Acton Annex vacated by the development department, and allow for Texas DPS licensing department currently located in Kohler to move into that location also.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Yes.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Wilson to move the development department from Acton Annex to Annex 3, et cetera, stated. You've got all, to Annex 3 and move the county DPS office currently in Annex 3 to the Acton Annex vacated by the development department, and allow for Texas DPS licensing department currently located in Kohler to move into that location also. Second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion?
Yes.
Go ahead.
I've just got a couple of housekeeping questions here. I'm looking at a proposed interlocal cooperation contract between DPS and Hood County. I'm assuming this is what's on the table at the moment. And I've got some major heartburn with some of it as it stands. And if this motion, and voting on this motion, is contingent on this agreement, then I'm going to have a problem with it. And it's really, the agreement's not in the agenda, so I'm kind of confused here. But for instance, we have a exclusive use for them. We're giving them exclusive use, and all they're going to do is pay utilities. And we're also agreeing give them a 10-year term, which all they're gonna do is pay utilities. And I don't see anywhere in this agreement where they're gonna pick up the employees at some date certain. So can you help me out with that, Commissioner?
Okay, we have, DPS representatives here, and they will address those specifically in both cases.
Can you come on here?
Come on up to the microphone and state your name, please, and your position.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Rebecca Perez. I'm the field operations manager for this area.
Pull up the mic a little
Sorry, I
bit.
know, I'm tall, I'm sorry. When it comes to, I want to believe, so let me first of all clarify with this, we don't like to necessarily call it a lease when we're drafting this because it's part of the government code, right? That we're just making a handshake agreement with local government agencies, but this was drafted by our real estate specialist that was actually on vacation, and I asked her, can you hurry up something as a draft, because I had told y'all that I would give y'all something for a draft. So it is, as it says, a draft. So if there are concerns, before we even give it to your legal team, we go through the general counsel and verify the stuff that y'all have questions about and try to add it. So don't think that, this is the final sale. I just wanted to give y'all an idea of what we normally do in an agreement with other government agencies. With it, I want to say there's a small little line, correct me if I'm wrong, that we do talk about, F, I believe, that talks about absorbing the 2 county employees. Again, this is, we call them, of course, FTEs that we are going to request to have for this county. And at that point, if the county employees that currently are with y'all decide to start the process with us, of course, they have to go through the state background and all that stuff, and they would become a state employee. If they choose not to and they decide to go somewhere else in the county, we will still fill those positions as we would anywhere else. And we can do more specifics on talking about what that means as absorbing them. I mean, just taking over the salary for that. It's even more, right? I think we addressed that.
Yes, we did.
It's a higher salary amount as well.
And we talked to the 2 employees, and they will take it.
Come on up, Eddie, so we can hear you.
She also asked us about like what our benefits were when it comes to insurance and stuff like that, and see the correlation as well to make it an easy transition for them.
And I did speak to the 2 employees, and they are willing to go to the state side. So that was taken care of as well.
Good, thank you.
In writing? In writing?
Not yet, because it hasn't been settled yet. Once it's settled, then it will go into writing. But yes, I did.
The biggest thing I want to reiterate is, like, again, this is just a draft. This is why when I sent it to Commissioner Wilson, I said, this is a draft. I'm trying to give y'all an example of kind of how we start stuff, and that's no problem to have that very specific that we're going to take them. That's not a problem. Other question you had, exclusive use of the utility, that we're just using that area. I mean, again, this is an intergovernment agreement. Like, we're just trying to help Hood County and the residents, as well as the state of Texas in general. And sometimes, like when we were at Tiller originally, it was for free. We didn't pay even utilities, and what we're offering is to pay the utilities, because we know it's an impact. I mean, even though it's only 4 or 5 employees, it's still an impact on the utilities and stuff. I know another concern was the security cameras. It's just in our office. It's because we do handle money. And so it is a security provision for that we have them over the counters and stuff like that. Nothing outside of the office or anything will be impacted.
Yeah.
Sorry,
You have-
I can't help but say something about it. You're here to help. That was one of Reagan's great quotes, the 9 most dangerous words in the sentence of English vocabulary is, hi, I'm from the government, I'm here to help. So anyway, I had to throw that in, sorry.
Do you have any other comments, Commissioner Reed? Are you finished?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, so first I have a concern about voting to move forward when there's no contract agreed to. I have a lot of questions on the proposed contract. It seems like it was haphazardly put together, which apparently it was, the person on vacation. There's missing terms, there's lots of ambiguity. Our risk management person has not had an opportunity to reach out to our property insurance company to see if they have any concerns or required clauses in the contract. There's no conflict resolution clause. The state of venue clause is missing. There's no cancellation clause. I'm not sure we're allowed to bind the county for 10 years with no cancellation. So that's a question. There's terms that aren't defined. Driver's license division or DPS licenses. The premises isn't defined. It needs to have an exhibit to show what it is. ADA compliant room is not defined. It needs to have an exhibit to show exactly what it means. Driver's license operations needs to be defined. Renovation scope needs to be defined and have an exhibit. Designated area of the county property needs to be defined. The parties aren't defined. It doesn't say that, it needs to have a clause that says DPS and the county are hereinafter referred to collectively as the parties and individually as a party. These are just common legal terms that should be in every contract. The purpose needs to be refined. I have a lot of questions about A through G. One of the questions I have is when it talks about non-exclusive use of the parking lot. And that, what did it say, that DPS will be, let's see where it says that. DPS has the right to use any parking lots and driveways on the premises. DPS agrees to park vehicles in areas so not to interfere with the movement and operations of county employees. What about the employees that are the public that goes into TAC, that goes into, when you've seen that parking lot when there's a jury call? Well, you might not have, but Commissioner Wilson and I have definitely seen that parking lot when there's a jury call for JP3. Has JP3 even been consulted about this? You talked to Judge Barnett. Commissioner Wilson, have you talked to Judge Barnett about this? About the impact to the people coming for jury call when DPS has it?
Well, there's typically, the parking lot, about once a month is full. Most of the time it's not. And there's additional parking behind the building. So, I don't see that is an issue at all.
So this is going to impact the public as well, and the chiropractor down next door. So has anybody, discussed that with the chiropractor or Judge Barnett? There needs to be I think that E is just terribly worded the way it is right now. DPS agrees that in exchange for the use and occupancy of the premises under this contract to maintain and keep secure said premises, DPS agrees to make, it just needs to be reworded. There's just so many problems. I don't, and as you guys know, this has been something that's been known for months. So I feel like throwing this together puts the county taxpayers at risk, committing to doing something like this without a contract that's solid, or an agreement, if you don't want to call it a contract or a lease, interlocal agreement that's solid, that protects both parties and has completely defined terms and the correct terms as far as a termination clause, what we need from liability from our property insurance company, our property insurance, Texas Association of Counties, making sure that the venue's right for dispute resolutions. The last thing we want to do is get into a dispute with the state of Texas and not have any dispute resolution clause in the contract. So this is, so we're not even talking about this, talking about moving a person out who's not here. I have a concern about boxing up records in the development department that may be subject to, may or are subject to lawsuit, right? We have 2 lawsuits going on, and some of those records that are in there are subject to a lawsuit. They could be called for discovery. Is that the right term, Matt and lawyers, and who's gonna box all that up? That person is not here. Who's gonna box it up? Who's gonna make sure that the chain of custody and the records retention is ensured? Where's it gonna go? That person isn't here to do that. So I have a concern about those records that are in there, and that those records are currently subject to at least 2 lawsuits and hopefully no more, but we don't know that. So those are my
You're talking with legal and maintenance.
Somebody's-
They have already, they have a place to safely store until the Annex 3 facility is vacated, and then it would all go in there. So we're talking maybe week 2 at the most, that it's not going to be, and, they'll put their hands on a box.
Who was talking? Somebody called my name, but,
No, I asked Matt a question.
oh, okay, sorry.
Because I had already talked to the developer, and he said,
Ed,
I'd already spoke to the developer, and he said it was okay that they all were moved and everything, and it was demand, that who could move it, because I'd be more than willing to go and move it. I don't mind moving it, and I already talked to Clint about it. Actually
Okay,
talked to
those,
Clint less than 10 minutes ago.
those records are part, I mean, the commissioners are responsible for those records. Thank you for volunteering to Pat, but I just want to make sure that the commissioners realize that if the chain of custody, and we lose chain of custody of those records that are subject to a lawsuit, that could be a not a good thing. And moving somebody's records when they're not here to do it, I think is not great either.
Because I already got all this stuff out anyway.
So,
well, let me say this, I have been approached, I can't tell you how many people have come up to me and says, Judge, are we really going to lose a DPS office at Toller? Is Hood County not going to have a DPS office for our taxpayers? I've had 2 phone calls this morning asking me about this. I know you have too. That is a big issue here. I know this, the big issue is whether the Commissioners Court agree, and that we're the ones that allow the spaces, whether this court agrees on what we're talking about here for DPS to move into Acton Annex. That's what we're talking about here. We've got a lot of times, Matt, we can take and do, subject to voting that this is what we will do so we can get everything moving, we can make additions and revisions to the contract. I've done that all my life. We've all done this. They've gone back and forth. As long as we have the concept that DPS, based upon the Commissioners Court, who decides what departments use what buildings here in the county, if we decide that DPS can use Acton Annex, and that Clint Head would come over here to Annex 3, we decide that, we can work on a contract, and that's something that can be done in a day or 2, going back and forth. These concerns that Ms. Samuelson has up here, that's all standard stuff that's a contract without saying that either party can give notice to terminate it or whatever. We're not going to hold up something that's important to the taxpayers of this county to keep DPS here over the concerns about having an airproof contract with them. We'll get that worked out and have it handled. It's just like you said, what does it absorb mean? First thing I did when I read,
Right.
What does that mean? Well, of course, we will have that defined. I think we know what it means. You're going to pay their salary. Andy, you just said they're willing to be on state employees, so we won't even have that. There'll be that. That's something that can be done. The critical issue here is that, are we going to let DPS move it to Acton Annex? That's what we're here to talk about. And to me, I know that's a burning desire and a concern for a vast majority of the people here in Hood County and elsewhere in the state, to be honest, because they like coming here, like coming to Toller to do it. So I think we can vote on that, and we do have a speaker here ready to talk about this. So my point is, we need to go ahead and vote on this, give them the permission to do that, and then work out the contract from there.
Well, Judge, that's not what the motion stated, so at minimum, the motion needs to be changed, amended, but working out, while it's important to have a service here for the county, it's also important to not put the county and the taxpayers at risk with a contract that is not complete.
I don't see how there's any risk to the taxpayers, there's more benefits here to the taxpayers.
The risk is
There's
that,
no risk.
yes, there is, there's liability risk
I'm
in here
glad
that
that you
hasn't
went-
been covered. You're an attorney, you know this, there's
Oh, I certainly
liability.
do know
There's
that. I
liability risk
certainly
in here
do.
that hasn't been covered. There's a term of 10 years with no cancellation clause.
That's what we're
There's-
talking about, and either side could terminate, that's a standard deal.
Well,
To
it's
give
not-
30 minutes notice, either side can
30 minutes.
vacate. That's
30
the little
minutes.
thing that can be taken care of. I know you don't do this, and I don't know that you went to law school, I did. I think in practice law for
Well, then
57 years.
you of all people should have realized when you
Oh,
got
I
this that it's
did,
horrible.
I did. But my big thing here is that I represent the people of all of Hood County, not just one precinct, all of Hood County. And I'm taking their wishes into account, and I can't tell you, I can't go into the bank. I can't go anywhere. Judge, what's the status on keeping DPS here in Hood County? I'm inundated by that, 2 phone calls this morning about it. That's what we can do, and this certainly can be addressed in a contract.
Well, it wasn't part of the motion, so may I request that the motion be modified or make a motion to modify the motion made by Commissioner Wilson to say that this agreement or this motion is subject to completing a contract, interlocal agreement that's agreeable to both the Department of Public Safety and Hood County.
I would like to, I'm going to second that, but I'd like to modify your amendment to say we could move forward with this contingent on reaching an agreement that's the commissioners, between the commissioners and DPS.
Well, if I could jump in, and I don't know if it's anybody's fault that we're at the last second, but we're at the last second. So that's one of the concerns. And so, as I mentioned a second ago, August 11th would be the next regularly scheduled meeting for the court. So, and I don't know what kind of timeline it takes to do all this, maybe somebody can answer that. One option would be to have a special called meeting as soon as possible, let's say next Friday, and come back with an agreement that is ironed out. I mean, next Friday would still be in July, and then you'd have a month, right? I mean, I talked to you about it, and I said, okay, well, I wanted to have some sort of a document to potentially vote on, and I said, well, you've made a lot of good points here. Can you just incorporate that into a draft agreement so that we have something we can vote on? And you said that you were...
I can't, yeah.
Okay,
With
so-
all the other things,
I understand, which is fine.
It's not my agenda item.
Okay, fair enough, but I think we need a point person to nail down all the exact stuff, incorporating all these concerns, and maybe have a special call next Friday. But for today, we could at least have just approve or disapprove, hey, a general framework for yes, we'd like to do this, or no, we won't, without any signed documentation, and then come back maybe next Friday. I mean, does that work for everybody?
Yeah.
As-
Okay.
As long as there's an agreement that no action is taken, walls aren't coming down,
Right.
people aren't moving in until the agreement is signed.
Okay, I mean, I think for today it would be good for everybody to kind of know that we're on the same page we would like to move forward in good faith to have an agreement with DPS. Yes or no? And then we need to also assign a point person or a couple of point people to negotiate with DPS to bring forth a final document for maybe a special call next Friday, right? Does that kind of work? Okay, well, then figure out who the point people are going to be, or person, to negotiate with DPS, and then we'll come back next Friday, but we can vote now to have just a handshake that we're gonna work on this.
Well, we need to agree that we can allow, that the vote is that we allow DPS to use the Acton Annex.
Well, I
Subject
mean,
to having,
I think the safe thing would be just vote to approve if you want to, a motion to work in good faith to have a final contract for the annex next Friday, if we can work on a special call meeting so we're not pushed into August. And just say, hey, yes, we approve this, we like the framework, we just need to iron out the details, we want to do this. And that's it. And then assign, like I said, a person or a couple of people or a committee of people or whatever to actually iron out and bring forth a draft so we're not spending, 3 or 4 hours hammering out little commas and semicolons, next Friday. We're good. We have something that's really pretty good, and I have to be careful with open
we
meetings.
need you
and
to
not-
be one of those people.
Whatever, I guess, yeah.
You don't have enough to do
No,
right now, so.
but I can work on it and be with
Yeah.
somebody else to try to cover all these
Mr. Wilson,
bases.
that's your deal.
We'll continue to work with them and contact, discuss with them and,
Okay.
get with you on that.
Okay, so that's my suggestion.
Is there any way that we can give them the list of her concerns in the emails?
I gave it to Matt.
Well,
Can we
and
give her the list of
yes, we will. I'll do that after court. I'm concerned about, quorums and stuff, so I sent her concerns to Jack, but I didn't send it to everybody because then we got quorum problems. So I was trying to massage that delicately, but get it to the person who put the agenda item on. So he saw it, but not the rest of y'all, and not them. So I will get that done after court so that we can work through it.
Well, I got a question for the DPS lady. If you can come to the mic.
Rebecca.
Rebecca, I'm sorry. Excuse me. So what happens if nothing happens? What are y'all gonna do? I mean, what's your alternative? If we just said, no, we're not interested in this, what would you do?
We would temporarily close the toller office.
Well, we know that. They've told you you had to go, so that's, what I'm saying is, what are y'all gonna do?
We would have to split our employees between Erath County and Johnson County.
Okay.
The end result wouldn't be anything in Hood
No,
County.
I'm not sure about the complete mileage, but you're looking at how far they would have to drive from Hood County, would be 30 minutes at least.
Yes.
Am I correct?
And that's what everybody's concerned with that comes up to be. We won't have a DPS office here to assist the residents of Hood County in getting licensing. That's important. It's been a great benefit to the residents of Hood County. So
I think they have a speaker, Judge.
I know we do. I acknowledge that. Okay, do you have any other questions of Rebecca? If not, Richard Hayes.
Good morning, Judge and Commissioners. My name is Richard Hayes. I'm privileged to live here in Wood County where life certainly is exciting every day.
Every day.
Every day.
In a perfect world, the state would fund DPS enough that they would have plenty of driver's license offices, they'd be well-staffed, there wouldn't be a 3 or 4 month wait to get an appointment, and everybody would be happy. Sadly, we don't live in a perfect world. We live in the world that we find ourselves in. And I'm pragmatic, and I say, what's best for our citizens? It's not to have to wait 3 or 4 months for an appointment. It's not to have to drive an hour or 2 hours to another county to get a driver's license test or a renewal. And it flips the other way as well. The wait times here at the toll office are much shorter than in the Metroplex. So people come here and say, gee, Hood County has their act together. Isn't it nice to be known for something good for a change than the usual news we get about Hood County? Plus, our clerk's office gets some additional foot traffic, and they get to produce birth certificates. People forgot theirs. There's a bit of revenue, not much, but a little bit of offsetting revenue. And let's not forget, people who drive here are going to probably have lunch here and support our local businesses and give us some sales tax revenue. So there's some pluses to it too, but the biggest issue is quality of life for our residents. We don't want to have to drive an hour or 2 hours to another office and make an appointment months off. I see this as quality of life. Yes, there appear to be issues in the contract. It wasn't posted on the agenda. I haven't read it. But these are solvable. I encourage you to make the motion that's been discussed here, follow Mr. Mills' advice, and put this to bed, and let's move on to much more interesting topics. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Yes.
Getting invited. Okay,
We actually have two motions on the table right now that, could we
well,
withdraw
yeah, why don't you
those?
withdraw your motion, Mr. Wilson, and the motion would be, according to Mr. Mills here, is that we agree that Hood County allow DPS to move into the Acton Annex, subject to us preparing a mutually acceptable contract regarding the rights and duties of the DPS in of Hood County. That's what you really talked about, am I right?
Right, and I would like to put in the motion, okay, who's responsible for hashing this out and bringing something here
Yeah.
next? And to potentially even iron out, is this next Friday? Because I don't think August 11th is a good idea.
No, no.
That's way out there. So maybe next Friday morning, like,
Right, I think that you and Mr. Wilson should be the point people for it, and let's go ahead and set a special call meeting for 9 o'clock.
okay, yes, that makes sense.
Commissioner Samuelson, are you willing to look at this too, or do you have time?
I can help, yes. I mean, I've already laid out a lot of the issues, so.
Right, I mean, I certainly am not gonna, I would not ignore that. I mean, I can, I'm gonna forward that to them after, we'll try to incorporate that in, and I'll try to, at least let you look at a draft. I mean, everybody look at a draft before we get to Friday, so that, don't do a group email, but you can tell me, hey, I don't like provision number 5 or whatever, and we'll try to work on that.
Okay.
So the motion is so I'm going to attempt to make the motion.
Well, I've already stated it, so.
Oh, I
that's
thought
my
you were
motion.
just describing what it should be, so that was your motion. Could you repeat that, please? Because you didn't have the details in there that Matt was asking for.
Well, I amended it to, after he said that, to say that Matt Mills and Jack Wilson would be the point people working on this agreement, and that we'd have a special call meeting at 9 o'clock Friday to vote on it. But seconded by Commissioner Wilson. So what I'm trying to do here is that to let DPS know that conceptually, we're agreeing to let y'all move into the Acton Annex so the people in Hood County can have a DPS office here. That's what I'm thinking about, and that's what the people here in Hood County want. As far as drafting a contract, that's going to be relatively simple to do because both sides want this deal, I would think. Do you have anything to add?
Well, can we go ahead and agree to move development out of there in
Yeah.
this motion? So we can go ahead and get that.
Yeah,
worked out.
that's a good point too, is to go ahead and move. Yeah, and I want to amend that to say that in the meantime, that we move development out, and that since Clint Head is still on, medical leave, that, are you going to help with that again with Leland?
Yeah, because I talked to Clint again just now, and he said it is okay to move the stuff out of the office as long as Laura does the inventory before and after.
As long as one?
Laura does inventory before and after of everything that is in there, but he said it was fine to move everything out.
And
Okay.
Mr. Tillman, are you?
That makes sense.
So he didn't say that, I have it in my phone.
Okay. So are you going to help with that, Andy?
And I'd be more than happy to.
Okay, you and Leland can get with Leland
Mhm.
to do that.
Yes, sir.
And coordinate it with Glenn Tillman too, so that the inventory, so that, thank you, Commissioner Andrews, on that, that's important.
So for the record, could you just concisely repeat what the motion is, and so that Alicia will have it as well, since we kind of wanted.
At least you read it back, okay?
It's all over the place. I have
My motion is that we have a conceptual agreement that DPS will be allowed to move into the Acton Annex to have a DPS licensing office for the benefit of the residents of Hood County, Texas. And that between now and next Friday, that Matt Mills and Jack Wilson would be the point people on working up a contract to encompass the normal contractual provisions to protect both Hood County and the DPS office as far as laying out their rights, duties, and responsibilities. And that we have a special called meeting on Friday to vote on this lease agreement contract regarding the lease of these premises. And that Andrea Ferguson will help with Leland and maintenance to move the records and have an inventory both before and after under the supervision of Glenn Tillman to make sure those records are totally stored correctly and properly accounted for. And is that it?
You covered it.
Yeah,
Food development.
yeah.
Well, that's, and that development necessarily will be moved into the Annex 3, right?
Annex 3.
In that office. Y'all know what space that is in Annex 3? Glenn, so you're in Annex 3, so you know where that's going. So these records will be safely stored. So that's my motion. Second by Commissioner Wilson.
Judge, I
Any
think
further discussion?
you set a new record.
What?
That's the longest motion I've ever heard.
It is. It's like my road document.
History.
Well, I'm telling you what I'm for. I'm really tired, and we really owe it to the benefit. This, like Mr. Hayes said here, this is a real important consideration and benefit to the people of Hood County, all of Hood County, and even neighboring counties. I've got people from Weatherford coming in here and then coming to my office when they drive in from Weatherford or Somerville to use this facility here. So y'all done a great job here, but this is important that we get this done. And we've been kicking this can down long enough. So with that, all those in favor of that motion and second, say aye. Aye. All those opposed, say nay.
Nay. In principle, due to the way it was posted, this was supposed to have been done on
Okay. It's approved 4-1. Did you vote for it? Okay. Approved 4-1. Okay. Then this brings us to number 2. Item 2, convene into executive session per Texas Government Code 551.074, personnel matters to conduct interviews for the development coordinator position, reconvene if needed, take appropriate action.
Should we take number 3 first?
Yeah, that's what I was just doing. Yeah, we're going to take, thank y'all for coming down. Appreciate it. Thank you, Rebecca. Thank you too. Okay. We're going to take number 3 here, in case you want to talk on this, Richard. To take appropriate action, authorize the county judge to sign the general addendum to standard terms of engagement, special counsel and general managers with the Borges Law Firm. Commissioner Sanders.
Yes, thank you. This was, do you have the agreement there? Or was it attached? It wasn't attached to the agenda, so.
Listen, I didn't see it, no,
Yeah, wasn't that it right there?
not in my book.
Right there, that Borges. No.
He says,
Oh, that's just the email.
that's just the emails. I don't have the agreement. You got the agreement?
Yes.
That's just the...
Yes.
Well, I like the part that, of course, they're not going to do anything unless
Oh,
we
here.
ask them to do it.
Yes, here it is. This is an addendum to standard terms of engagement. In our last Commissioners Court, there were several items that We requested the Borges Law Firm to help us with the road damage agreement. I think there was a couple of other things. And I forwarded those to Mr. Borges and asked if there was anything additional we needed to do for his firm to help us with those, and he sent this addendum, which widens the scope of their engagement to have general matters as well as special counsel. So this is to authorize the county judge, I move to authorize the county judge to sign the addendum to the standard terms of engagement, special counsel on general matters with the Borges Law Firm.
Second.
Okay, motion made by Commissioner Samuelson to attach an addendum to the standard agreement with the Borges Law Firm so that they can handle general matters that come up. And I think it's always subject to our consent and approval. Second by Commissioner Andrews. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Okay. Now that brings us to item number 2, convening an executive session to discuss personnel matters. So that's what we're going to do. And we're running a little early, but I see that our first applicant is here. So what are we going to do? Right back in the jury room? Is that available? Do you know, can you check and see if the jury room is available, please, sir?
I had a feeling you were going to be worth
You got some of this.
Yeah. You having fun yet?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
In adult probation.
They were buying the picture?
Yeah. With the, well, she has CDs, but they got state files. She said they needed funds moved. She's indicated she'd already done They've signed the agreement to buy it, but I wanted to send a PO with it yesterday.
Miss
She was
Levere,
telling me
you got
Request that the HR director close the job posting for the development coordinator today.
Commissioner Sampson made a motion for the HR director to close the position for what is the
Development
position for?
coordinator.
Development coordinator.
Development coordinator today, as of today.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Second by Commissioner Wilson. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say nay. Motion carries unanimously. Do I hear any other motion?
I think we can.
Okay. So with that, we are adjourned. See you at 12 o'clock. Where are we meeting?
At the annex, right?
Yeah.
At the end?